After weeks of teasing a new shape, Samsung has just officially unveiled the new Z Fold 8, Z Fold 8 Ultra, and Z Flip 8. That first one, the Z Fold 8, is probably the most interesting of the three since it's a departure from the vertically folding format that Samsung's stuck to for years. Plus, this horizontal orientation is much more similar to what the industry is speculating that Apple's first foldable will look like, making things all the more intriguing. Let's take a look at the basics. When open, the Fold 8 has a 7.6-inch screen with a 4:3 aspect ratio. When you close the Fold 8, you'll mainly use its external display, which is a 5.5-inch panel running at Full HD+. Both the inside and outside screens refresh at 120Hz, and in terms of resolution and refresh rates, the specs here are basically on par with the Fold 8 Ultra. I really like the way the Fold 8 felt. It's impressively thin, with a profile measuring just 4.5mm when it's open. That's 0.17 inches thick, and while it is a tad thicker than the Fold 8 Ultra, I honestly didn't feel a difference. The new Fold 8 was satisfying to open and close, and it felt like the original Surface Duo that Microsoft launched in 2020. A lot of you might find that it's like holding a small book, and that's probably what feels so familiar. Their 4:3 aspect ratio here is also better for watching videos or playing games. The Fold 8 barely feels heavier than a regular phone too. At 201 grams or about 7.1 ounces, it's actually lighter than the iPhone 17 Pro. It measures about 124mm by 161mm when open, which is pretty similar to the Z Fold 8 Ultra's 158 by 143mm. When closed, the Fold 8 is about 10mm wider than the Ultra and the iPhone 17 Pro. This is probably where most people will struggle to adapt. The extra width will make using the Fold 8's external display pretty tricky with one hand. Every time I tried to type on it, I instinctively defaulted to holding it with both hands. I'm sure when I get to use this thing in the real world, I will find myself very frustrated anytime I need to type on it and only have one hand free. Samsung does make a one-handed keyboard that could suit this situation, so I am reserving judgment for now. The company also introduced a few new software features with the foldables today that include an expansion of the Now Nudge tool that it introduced earlier this year with the S series. I was more interested in the fan cam feature coming to its video editor. This allows you to take any clip you've recorded of multiple people in one scene and re-crop it to focus on one individual. You can select from a variety of aspect ratios, and the phone will use on-device processing to follow that character around. Perfect for that BTS concert I'm attending in 2 weeks. In my limited time with the Fold 8, a few other things gave me pause. First, the cameras. The Fold 8 only has 2 cameras, while the Ultra has 3. Plus, its main camera is 50 megapixels sharp, which isn't bad, but certainly isn't the 200 megapixel sensor on the flagship. While both have 50 megapixel ultra-wide cameras, the Ultra has an additional telephoto system with 3 times optical zoom, making it a more versatile shooter. If you're not too fussed by a lack of a telephoto lens and don't really care about megapixel counts, the Fold 8 should not disappoint. It's also powered by the same Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor as the Ultra and comes with the same amounts of RAM. Oh, and its front cameras are basically the same too. It does have a slightly smaller 4800 mAh battery than the Ultra, which has a 5000 mAh cell, but both charge at the same speeds. Samsung wasn't able to squeeze magnets into the body of the Fold 8, which means it's not MagSafe compatible, but it's otherwise T2 ready, so it charges fairly quickly wirelessly. Ultimately, what gave me the biggest pause is price. The Fold 8 will retail for $1899.99. Just for comparison, the Fold 8 Ultra will cost $2099.99, and the Flip 8 starts at $1199.99. That's about $1,200. So as much as I'm taken by the Fold 8's hardware and general shape, I have to hold on to my money until we can run a full review. For that and more information on Samsung's latest launches, head on over to Engadget.com.